and welcome back to another episode of the Choose 954 podcast, episode 98, with Slow Burn Theater Company founders Patrick and Matthew, here from the Broward Center for the Performing Arts in the Spirit Club Level Lounge. If you didn't know about Choose 954, myself, Evan Snow, and my business partner, Mr. Andrew Martineau, started a social movement to cultivate culture and community in my native Broward County in an effort to keep people in the know with all the great things that are going on, to make this a better place to live, and not just a better place to vacation because we live here. And the point of the podcast is to connect you with interesting people like them that do a lot of important things in the community, and they have quite a bit to celebrate and share with you. So without much further ado, for those that are not familiar with you, why don't you just give us a little bit of your intros, how you kind of got to this point of the career up to Slow Burn and where we are today.
I'm Matthew Karinko. I'm the executive director of the Slow Burn Theater Company.
And I'm Patrick Fitzwater. I'm the artistic director for Slow Burn Theater Company, and we both are the founders of the company.
Mm-hmm.
And how did you guys kind of either initially fall into the theatrical arts and kind of start your careers off that led you to founding Slow Burn?
Well, we both come from, back when we were young. We were both back when we were young. We both started in the theater arts, coming from one direction or another. I came from more of being a dancer. Matthew, you came from the tech side originally into the acting side.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had been performing probably since I was 15 years old, doing theme park circuits, working every possible job of theater that there is.
Okay.
And then I met Matthew in Chicago at a Six Flags Great America.
Yep.
And
he was in the Saloon Show. I was in the Grand Music Hall show. And from there, we did theater in St. Louis.
Yeah.
We were on
Chicago.
Chicago, St. Louis. And then we moved to Florida in 2008 and wanted to find, a theater company that did some, contemporary stuff with regularity. And there just wasn't one that did the real contemporary stuff.
It was a weird time, though, too.
Yeah.
It was like right when the housing market had
the recession was starting.
Yeah, it was at the height of the recession. So things were closing. It was a really risky time to even start anything new. So
Sure.
The theatrical landscape had changed so drastically right when we started.
Sure.
So that was a whole interesting journey of growing up through the recession into where we are now today.
Yeah, and that was a different landscape for the arts back then. If anybody remembers, we don't like to use the term cultural wasteland anymore, but that's what some people still remember it as. So from that period, kind of tell us some of the origin story of how Slow Burn kind of came together and what really inspired this movement you guys have created now.
Well, when we found a space, it was actually it was a 561. It was
Hey.
we were at the West Boca Performing Arts Center. Was the first person that was interested in what we had to do, and we rented their auditorium for the first 5 years of our existence.
Okay.
And did our shows there. They've since become an academy,
Mm-hmm.
and as we grew more popular there, Jill Kradish, who's the programming director here at the Broward Center, had seen some of our shows, and they had the Aventura Theater that they wanted to get more programming into.
Mm-hmm.
And so they approached us. We started splitting our time between West Boca and Aventura, and then eventually ended up here full time. We did shows both in the New River Room here and at the Amaturo. Now we're strictly in the Amaturo, which is the 590 seat theater across the courtyard from here.
The big leagues.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we've been here. It's our 10th year here and our 15th year overall this season.
Right.
Congratulations. How did you come up with this name, Slow Burn?
That's him.
That's me. Well, we went through a few names, and I just Googled a theater term glossary because there are a lot of center stage theater companies. There are a lot of Spotlight, and a lot of typical terms, and they're great. But we wanted something that was that was unique, and we found slow burn, which is this gradual anticipation. You know something's going to happen. There's this anticipation of something. You don't know what, you don't know how big, you don't know how whatever. And it became just this universal term. It could apply to a character, it could apply to a show, it could apply to a song, it could even apply to the actor themselves. That passion you have inside you is that slow burn to get out and be on a stage. And when you do a show with us, afterwards you are a slow burner. And it was important to me that there was a way to translate that name into somebody or into an alumni. So that's kind of where slow burn came from. It's a great conversation.
And there's been quite a few slow burners now over the last decade plus. In that time period, what has been your favorite production to date that you guys have been a part of?
Oh, that's hard.
That's like picking a favorite child. Yeah. The ones we're proudest of doing. I mean, I'm proud of all the shows that we've done.
Yeah.
Some of the favorites as a selfish performer, I would say Hunchback of Notre Dame was one of my favorites.
Okay.
Mine too, yeah. I actually would say one of my favorites was Bridges of Madison County.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, the ones that are our favorite usually are not the blockbuster ones.
Sure.
Yeah.
They have more meaning.
Yeah. They're kind of the underdog show, and they take a little bit more work to get to the stage. Whereas you take something like The Little Mermaid that we did last year, which was a huge success, but it already comes with its own baggage. You know what I mean? So you're just kind of unpacking it. But a show like or a parade where you actually have to really get in there and put your own stamp on it and make it palatable and make it interesting to your audiences. So like another one that was really good that I was surprised by was right before the pandemic, we did Groundhog Day. And I have to say that was probably, I don't know, this year was really good though.
Yeah.
This year for us has been probably our stride. Each show that we put out in this past
year,
14th anniversary season was, I felt, the most consistent, if there could be anything that goes in the pocket, it was in the pocket.
Well, you guys have had a lot of practice, and you guys have built up a great track record, award-winning, which we'll get to. We cover a lot of the visual arts and musical arts, and we do cover some performing arts. But for those that might not be so familiar with the theatrical arts and theater, for the layman Johnny 9 to 5 out there that's listening, that's just really starting to get into the arts and exposed to the arts, what would you tell them some of the reasons why the theatrical arts are important to our community and our way of life here in South Florida and really anywhere you live?
Well, I believe that theater helps with hard conversations. I think they can very much reflect the time period that you're in, and something can be presented to you on stage and it could spark up a conversation on the car ride home that maybe was a difficult conversation to have. So we try to go in and find those meanings inside each title that could spark a conversation or bring you into a world that you're not exposed to every day, where you can come and walk in someone else's shoes for the day. Like you were saying, a Johnny 9 to 5, or you can come into the Russian Revolution and see what that was like. And it's amazing how many parallels and things that are in modern musicals that we face, that you see daily on the news every day. But they help bring it into, like I said, that conversation, and see it acted out on stage. It gets it off the media and actually gets it right in front of you.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
Like a show like Parade deals with anti-Semitism.
Yep.
And I mean, that goes back to the days of Leo Frank. And
which is a real life story.
Yeah. A man that was wrongly accused of a murder. And it brings it right to forefront.
And I always like to say the arts, not just visual arts, can be many different things to many different people.
Yeah.
It could be
Yeah.
history, it could be storytelling, and through the performing arts, especially the theatrical arts, you have the ability to tell stories and recant history. Everybody, I'm sure, loves Hamilton, the room where it happened, the room where it
Yeah.
happened.
Exactly, and more people. You learn more names. I'll bet you kids nowadays know more of our founding fathers
Yes.
because of Hamilton than because of history books.
Yeah.
It's that bridge, and you can talk about what did you think of the relationship between Hamilton and Jefferson.
Yeah.
And you realize that there was conflict back then. 1776 is much the same way, but it's a much more traditional musical. But in fact, it was what got me into history is when I did 1776 in college.
Interesting.
I actually learned, I had to do my character study.
Sure.
I played John Hancock, and I learned all my relationships with these people, and I thought it was fascinating because it brought history to life. It wasn't just some boring textbook and assigned reading. It was live people on stage, and I was feeling what they were feeling, and I was appreciating what they were going through. And I think that's what's so unique and why live theater lasts as long as it has, is because there isn't anything like it. You can watch Hamilton on TV, a streaming service, and
it's not the same.
It's not the same as when you see it live. They've done studies where audiences breathe together and their hearts start beating together. You have this communal experience that you just can't find anywhere else.
Correct. It can't be recreated. The in-person experience, especially being in a room with 500 other people,
Right.
Seeing the sweat beads come off of the performers, and even the sound system and the reverberations and the hertz, right? That experience can't be replicated.
No.
Well, and not only that, but when you go and see a live show, there is something that happens different every single night with the actors. It's delivered different every night. So depending on how that audience is reacting and how that audience is moving with the show, that actor will deliver just a slightly different performance.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you will get a performance that is unique to your experience. And talking about too, like with the history of shows and like parade and things like that, theater also can just be entertaining.
Yeah.
And that is something that took me a while to kind of learn as a theater director. Is I always went into this thinking, oh, there's all these stories I have to tell and I have to make all this impact and I have to change the world. And right now, all I've really realized is sometimes all your audience needs is joy.
Yeah.
And you are bringing joy and you are bringing impact to the world.
Yeah.
And, I like to say as an arts advocate that the arts provide a balance in the live, work, and play balance. Nobody wants to go to work, go home, rinse, repeat, and not have any of the play component. And the arts provide great opportunity for play and to give that balance and release and that opportunity to see a different experience and live and share a different experience with people. And I know you guys have, produced many different shows over the last 15 years, as we'll get to. But what are some of the ways that you engage with the community outside of just the theater, and even just maybe even speaking to people that you hire and give opportunities to?
Yeah. So we always try first and foremost to hire locally, because the amount of professional talent that is in South Florida it's insane. We're not from here, so when we first moved down here, we're like, is it me or are these people just ridiculously talented? Especially like the youth. I don't know what's in this. I honestly, yes, I do know what it is now that
it's well supported.
It's well supported, and not only that, it's multicultural.
Yeah, correct.
As coming from somebody from St. Louis, we're only exposed to.
And I grew up in Wisconsin. Yeah,
we're exposed to one way of life, and these kids are getting Latin influence, so they're getting Latin music, they're getting classical, they're getting all these different cultures. So, but yeah, they're talented because they're living life experiences and they're exposed to it.
Yeah.
So that took me a while to also realize that no, it's not just in the water, it's in the culture. So some things that we do is hire locally. We do programming here that makes it accessible for sensory friendly performances. So that way families that can come to the theater, and those audience members can experience the show the way they need to experience the show.
Amazing.
And it's not on, well, I hope my experience isn't disrupting so-and-so down in C. No, we all come into the game knowing that we're all going to experience this how we want to experience. And there's no apologizing for being loud, apologizing for vocalizing. No, this is your experience. And I think it's really important. You know, we have a lot of parents come up to us at the end of the show and come, thank you, I don't get to go many places, or I didn't think that this was attainable for our family. Because, you know, some people buy a $300 ticket and you don't feel comfortable if your child is experiencing it the way they need to experience it.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we make sure we do those types of shows. We are off and on involved with C's programming, meaning that we will produce shows that are for Broward County. So meaning that they can come and take field trips. Even our main stage shows, we will get up bright and early and do a show that's meant to be done at 10 o'clock at night and do it at 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
So that way these kids that maybe can't get a Broadway experience. So
but it's an audience like you've never.
Oh, yeah.
I was one of those audiences as
right?
a Broward County native growing up in Broward County public school systems, and they would take us on field trips here. And I remember, you know, seeing Nutcracker, and you know, I remember seeing these performances and being in this amazing theater and having an impact on me at an early age.
That's so cool.
We had an experience that just happened, like, because we've been around long enough, I guess, is that an actor that was in our season last season pulled us aside and she told us, she's like, I was in the audience when you guys did Shrek and my high school came. And after I saw Shrek here, I knew I had to be an actor.
Wow.
So it's just interesting, the full circle moments that happen. And that is something that can be given back to the community. We also do a program where we do an elder arts program.
Yep.
Elder arts program, meaning that Christy Rose Mills, who's one of our performers and leads this program, she will go into these elder communities and bring theater to them, and they'll learn choreography or they'll learn a song from the show.
Amazing.
It keeps them active. Then what happens is they get to come and see that show, so they get to tie it all back together.
Amazing.
We offer $10 tickets to those communities, and it's it's subsidized through a grant, but then we open the doors to some people who might not get out that often, who might not be socially active, and they get to come see the shows, and it's so much fun for them, and it's so much fun for us to feel that energy from them.
I think something too that's important is just knowing, like, if you have tickets, or if you're this elder arts program, just having something on the calendar to look forward to.
Literally, I was looking forward to Hamilton for
exactly. And we take that for granted sometimes too. It's like, we know, well, we're going to be at Witches of Eastwick every night. There's somebody that's looking forward that right now has it circled on their calendar that, oh my gosh, I can't wait to come to Witches of Eastwick. It's like me with Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
I'm like,
thankfully, your public relations firm, Pearson Grant, offered me tickets, and I shared with my partner, and they were so excited that we're like going to look forward. And she said, can we go to a nice dinner beforehand? Of course, we're going to go tonight. And that's another part that I always like to mention and highlight regarding the creative economy, that it's not just the ticket price that is supporting, it's the usher, it's the creative that made the flyer, it's the videographer, it's the
set design.
I think something that you're bringing up that is so important to you, because in Florida, we've been struggling a little bit with the fact that the arts are not supported. So there was some government funding that was cut completely.
Mistakenly.
And that was very hard for us, because what I think a lot of people do not understand is when we do, like you're saying, when we do Witches of Eastwick, sure, it seems fun, but we lift up all of the restaurants in the area on that night. We lift up the people that make the programs.
Correct.
The people that, there's so much economy boost that comes from theater that I don't think people know about.
Could you maybe estimate or quantify?
For every dollar that is invested in the arts in a particular community, it's returned to that community ninefold.
Correct.
Yeah.
How many people are involved, employed in a production?
So I would say it varies, but I would say you usually have probably about 60 to 70 people just touching the stage.
Right. Not
Yeah.
not including the public relations, not including the graphic
Not
design.
including the bartender, not including the usher,
Right.
not including the parking attendant, not
Yeah, and
including that you
exponentially.
went to wherever you went to dinner before. It just lifts, it lifts all boats. These tides do.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and that's actually the wave in the logo of Choose 954. It's rising tides raise all
Raise
ships.
all
yeah, that was
yeah.
what I'm looking. Thank you.
Yes.
It's like
Now it's the cliche.
it's like boats do water,
But it's true.
It really
It's
does.
true.
And it has
Absolutely.
changed lives. And you mentioned the Shrek example was a great one. I wanted to ask you, and I'm sure you guys have others, but any other either moment or a success story or milestone that was particularly meaningful to you that's come to mind over these last 15 years?
Well, I mean, just 15 is quite an accomplishment. Living through the pandemic
that was
is-
rough. Yeah.
because I remember we were just across the way in the ballroom, which was our last rehearsal for Ragtime, which is what we were rehearsing when we got shut down. And
It was to be our biggest show too.
yeah, and we were a couple of days from loading into the theater, so it was about a week away from having an audience. And before we all left, we sang the finale to Act One, and it was just this. And we're like, "We'll see you in August."
Not even that,
This
no,
is just
it was,
a temporary thing. We're
You're
just
right.
going to keep our set
no,
on
right.
we
hold.
were going to take the weekend
gonna-
off.
yeah.
That's how it started. Because
Yeah.
it started with Mean Girls being here with us, and us all talking backstage, knowing that something was happening in New York with Moulin Rouge. They started getting sick. They were the first show that started getting sick, and we're like, something's happening. But hey, we open next week. If we have to, we'll just delay the opening by a night or two,
Right.
and we'll just get your stuff together. Let's go home. And then 2 years later,
Yeah,
And we, I mentioned other people, but not for nothing. I'm as an arts advocate, as an advocate for people pursuing their dreams, you too deserve the opportunity and have afforded yourself the opportunity to pursue your passion, your creative outlet, and now your profession,
yes,
in whatever you set out to do. And I'm so grateful that you, A, decided to start, B, overcame, because obviously the first couple years it's not easy,
no,
and very humble beginnings, and
Yeah.
you didn't get a Spirit sponsorship
No.
just off the bat.
right.
I also understand there's been some pretty noteworthy awards along the way, and those are not just given out lightly. I mean, I know you
Right.
guys are very modest and humble, but could you share for those that are not familiar with what a Carbonell Award is?
It's sort of like
the South
it's
Florida
called the
Tony.
South Florida Tony.
So I think
basically,
it's based
and
off the
it's-
Jeff Awards, which are very big awards in
In
Chicago. And it is to celebrate professional theater because it is such a rich culture down here of it. And it's really a celebration of what these judges and this committee think is exemplary work for the season. And this season, we were excited. We woke up one morning and realized that we got 28 nominations, which is the most out of all the theaters.
for this particular season. Yeah, it's
28.
Deservedly so. And it's a testament to hard work paying off. You both very genuine and very authentic in pursuit of your passions and your profession here.
Mm-hmm.
So you deserve to be celebrated and supported, rightfully so. And I know we don't always hear that every day in our day to day, and that's why I would like to encourage maybe some people that have not patronized the performing arts and theater as much. Maybe they did go see Hamilton. Maybe they saw Cats back or what.
yeah.
But here's a chance to come out and support local people in the community that are doing great things, that are going to add enrichment to your lives
Yes.
and a memorable experience. And, you guys have quite a few coming up. So could you kind of summarize what this, 15th season is going to look like for us?
We're thrilled with the way that this season fell together. There's little something for everyone, including a show that not many people have seen, not many people have had the opportunity to see, because it was a restricted title, and that's The Witches of Eastwick, what we're opening with. It's a nice October show. People know the movie with
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson and Sharon, Susan Sarandon, Michelle Pfeiffer.
I think it's important
But
to
it's-
touch on that one, like you said.
yeah,
It is a show that had eyes on Broadway, got put away for a while. We reached out The composer is actually going to come down with us on opening night
Yeah, Dana.
because Dana Rowe, who he's going to come down and open the show with us
Wow.
because he's so thrilled
Yeah.
that it's being produced again. So it is a not to miss because it's like Matt said, it's magic. It's the power of womanhood. It's one of those. It's timely.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's
Wow.
it's circling back around. It takes some of the misogynistic and flips it on its head.
Yeah.
Um,
And then Anastasia is our December show, and it's I guess our family title if you want to pick one out of there, because we're not only interested in entertaining the regular theater goer, but we're interested in inspiring the next generation of
Yes.
theater goers.
Amen.
And it's so cool, not only as an actor but as a producer, to see these kids. They come, they're dressed up to the nines. They have little bow ties, their dresses. It's such an important thing for them, and it's so neat to have the opportunity to be their first live theater experience.
And a memorable,
So-
and as you've mentioned already with the Shrek experience, you know, you're
Yeah.
literally leaving an imprint on somebody's
Yeah.
life. And that was actually going to be one of the next questions that I was going to ask you on the flip side of the inspiration. Who have been some of your inspirations that have led to this stage of your career in your life now?
Well, I mean, the list is crazy. I mean, first of all is my high school teacher. I think everybody can
yeah,
point to
high school
theirs
drama
now.
teacher.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not anybody's going to know, 'cause
Sure.
it was southeastern Wisconsin. But Kit Donahue really inspired me, not just to be an actor, because I was an actor, but to learn all the aspects of theater. I was the stage manager for our high school. Because of that experience, I got a tech theater scholarship to the school that I went to in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. And I auditioned. Not only did I know I was going to learn tech theater, but I auditioned for the BFA acting program at the same time, and ended up getting the acting degree. But all that wealth of experience and in all the different aspects, I know in a pinch how to work a sewing machine. I know a hammer and a drill, and I can put a set together. I can paint it if I need to. I've stage managed a couple of our productions throughout our run. She would be a huge inspiration. I have college professors, James Woodland and Tom Nevins. Those guys would be people that I would. I mean, I have to look there to talk to them, but they're people who I know are looking down and smiling right now.
I think all of it does. If the one common theme, even when you talk to actors that are anywhere in their journey, whether they be on Broadway or regional or just doing their very first show, I think everybody can tell you who their drama teacher was in high school. I think this is where it starts. It starts, and teachers should be celebrated more than they are celebrated because they're responsible for, I mean, they're carrying the weight of the world on them. They're making the next generation of stars.
Boy, there
The
are
next
some good ones
storytellers.
down here.
There are some really
We've met
good ones
them,
in here.
Yeah,
And
really good ones.
But no matter from what state or anything, I think it all comes back to the foundations of theater that are found inside school. So we want to make sure too that keep funding. Yeah, I know it's not the football team at the high school, but
the
drama team needs a little bit of love too, because they really are
STEAM instead of STEM, right?
Yeah, and
Put the A back in.
we're not going to get so far in the weeds, but for those that are not familiar with the unfortunate decision that our wonderful governor made, misinformed, to cut all nonprofit arts funding, to put us literally at the bottom of the list. And our last podcast guest was from our Fund Foundation, and they stepped up with $150,000 worth of funding to supplement and bridge the gap for local nonprofits, and a lot of them arts and actual theater nonprofits, Brevo Theater and a few locals.
the Wharton Foundation has been very big on that for us too. They did step in and
All
help
of
us
our-
bridge the gap.
Mhm.
The Miniachi,
The Miniachi Foundation,
all of-
JM.
the JM, all of our donors, when we sent out the email when this happened, were just ashamed and stepped right up and bridged that gap for us. So our community is definitely behind us.
Yeah.
So
Because this is, you know, you're not getting into this line of work to make the most amount of money possible.
you
This
never
is not a multi-million-dollar profitable thing. So the funding gaps and the ways to bridge those funding gaps help. And I would like to ask and give you the opportunity to invite listeners in the community and potential patrons. What are some ways that they could support Slow Burn?
Well, first and foremost is buy a ticket, get season tickets that you get discounts that way.
Great.
You can go to slowburntheater.org. That's theater spelled theatre.org. There's links to donate there. And just get out and support. There are so many good theater companies around here. It's not just us. We occupy, as you can see, 5 shows. That's 15 weeks out of the year. There's still 37.
Correct.
To go see other things, and I've worked for other companies. They're wonderful companies. I've supported other companies, and Broward is such a great. It's a deceptively good culture.
Correct.
And I love that you're bringing attention to all the people that are doing hard work down here. I know you had a podcast with New City Players.
Correct.
I saw their most recent production, A Streetcar Named Desire.
Correct.
And I know that that we're all just gunning into our next season, and there's just so much going on.
It contributes to the overall landscape because Island City Stage is not 500 seats.
No.
But it is a place, and Timothy Mark Davis, God bless him, he's working very hard and has been working
so hard.
Has been working hard for years.
Right next door at the Foundry.
Correct.
Yeah.
One thing I think people can do too
Please.
is, granted, most people that watch things like this, or yourself or ourselves, we're very aware of the arts, so we love the arts and we're already supporting them. So one thing that we could do is gift tickets, is buy tickets and give it to somebody that hasn't experienced it.
Great holiday season gift here.
Yes, absolutely.
Instead of getting a gift card to Target, how about buying some tickets to a show and introducing somebody to the world of
Amazing.
theater?
That's a great idea. And I believe if you do purchase through the website, there is an option, I believe, to gift.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
Through Ticketmaster, you can do that.
Correct.
You can share your ticket.
Yeah. So you could do that, pay it forward, pay it back.
Yeah. Give it to somebody that doesn't know what theater is.
Correct. At your work, at your membership organization, at your religious organization, whatever the case may be, your kid's friend, whoever it may be. So if now we got some people interested and engaged, if they'd like to find out more information and how they can join and support, where can they find you on social media and the interwebs?
Our Instagram is at Slowburn Theater. Again, that's Slowburn Theater with TRE.
Yeah.
Slowburntheater.org, which is our theater company's website. BrowardCenter.org, which they can get our tickets through the BrowardCenter.org website as well.
Yeah, and Facebook, Instagram. Those are really where we and then our website just slowburntheater.org.
Yep.
You're going to be able to see everything that's coming up, that's happening. Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned buy the season tickets and you do get a discount. And like, let's just say you don't make it to every event, you could gift 1, 2, 3 of them.
Or you can change the date as a season subscriber. So like if someone comes up being a season subscriber, you can be like, listen, the October 19th is not going to work for me. Give me November 3rd. And you have that advantage as being a season subscriber.
Phenomenal.
But I love what you said too, because sometimes we get into a season where you're like, yeah, I want to see Witches, I want to see Parade, Something Rotten, Bodyguard. It's still cheaper to get Anastasia. You're like, I'm not feeling Anastasia. Gift it.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, if you're a sports fan and you know how sports season ticket works, you're not going to 41 Heat games and you're not going to 81 Marlins games. You're giving the tickets away. You're selling them or you're doing whatever. So certainly encourage people to do that. Give the gift of art this holiday season.
Absolutely.
This is a great way to do that. And maybe even inspire some people, like put it in a charity raffle, put it in a Secret Santa, put it in a, whatever. Like that's a nice gift. And they're not terribly expensive tickets either. No. They're very reasonable. Yeah. Even if you come here to the Spirit Club level,
it is,
which we need to try apparently.
I mean, it's an experience, and treat yourself.
Right, treat yourself to a night of the arts. So I really appreciate you mentioning that. And the last question that we like to wrap up with on the Choose 954 podcast is, why do you guys choose the 954?
It's usually because of like the community.
Hmm. I mean, we're right in the middle of everything.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Tri-County area.
Literally,
Yeah.
we're the middle of the tri-state. We have access to everything, and it's a really nice community. I love being a part of the arts community and just the community in general.
Yeah, and you guys have built a name for yourself, built a reputation. You've had, well-deserved success, rightfully so. So kudos to you on that. And yeah, it's a long way from the Midwest winters.
I do miss those a
I do
little.
miss the fall.
Yeah,
not
the fall.
winter.
The fall. You can always go
Yeah.
back to visit. Speaking of some actually other arts advocates, folks that recently relocated from the Midwest, and some other things that maybe the listeners could look out for. We're very excited and glad that leading arts, marketing, and mindset coaches Sergio Gomez and his wife, Dr. Yanina Gomez, of a platform called Art Next Level, which is an online platform, have recently relocated to Broward County. They've been hosting workshops in actually the Tri-County area, but we're hosting their workshops, their summer workshop series in our Zero Empty Spaces Gulfstream Park studios.
Oh,
And
wow.
we have one coming up this Saturday on how to run a successful open studio event for artists. They help artists tremendously, and we've also partnered on our first Cruise for Creatives Wellness Retreat in March upon the
Nice.
Virgin
Wow.
Voyages Scarlet Lady, where it's going to be a cruise. We're going to relax and we're going to
Yeah.
retreat from this crazy life we live in America, but have some workshops and talks on how to not only combat burnout, but hopefully help prevent burnout,
Mhm.
as well as some very informative and tangible arts marketing insights on the days that we're at sea, and have a great experience with fellow creatives that were forming new connections and expanding our community.
Yeah.
This came out of an event. You guys are welcome to join Choose 954 Artist Potluck we do quarterly.
Wow.
Our next one is November 9th. It's all artists of I'm an author. It doesn't have to be visual arts or
Yeah, okay.
performing
Yeah,
arts, anybody,
yeah.
just to really trying to foster the creative community here in Broward County. So we invite people. We hosted most recently. We've rotated them over the years at our Zero Empty Spaces. We take empty storefronts. Me and my business partner, we make affordable working artist studios.
That's so cool.
So we have one in Gulfstream Park next to Williams-Sonoma, and we invite people to come in, bring a dish for 5 or 6 people because not everybody eats everything. We go around. You get a chance to introduce yourself, talk a little bit about your work, and then a prompt every quarterly potluck. So the next one will be November 9th on a Saturday. It'll be before Thanksgiving. Not everybody has family here or family at all. And then, give opportunity to say, like, what are you grateful for? What are you looking forward to for next year?
Nice.
So that's the Artist
a cool
Potluck
thing.
series, and that's where the Cruise for Creatives came out of. Another favorite community event of mine that I'd probably like to get both of you to speak at is I was inspired initially by TED Talks that, got me on this path.
Sure, yeah.
So I host a monthly breakfast lecture series, a mini TED Talk called Creative Zen, every second Friday morning of the month in the Cotilla Gallery inside the Alvin Sherman Library on the campus of NSU, Nova Southeastern University. We bring in local people to share their thought-provoking, relatable, and inspiring stories. This is where I had my aha moment, so I pay it back and pay it forward and continue to do that. Free event, coffee, breakfast bites, guided meditation, and a talk. And I met some of my best friends through there, so I love continuing to do it every second Friday morning of the month.
Very cool.
And last one, if you haven't been, I still host free guided tours of the Downtown Hollywood Art Walk every third Saturday night of the month. Nice time.
Yeah.
Live art, live music. That's where the locals, dreamers, doers, passion pursuers, creative entrepreneurs can go vend in the artisan market. And I take people around. I kind of break the ice because not everybody always wants to ask an artist,
Right.
about their work, because then they feel obligated to buy. So it's a free event. There's a magic show at 10 o'clock. He's a great performer. Magic Jack. I don't know how he does it, but he does it somehow. So you can find that at Choose 954. Find them on Choose 954. If you're not subscribed to the newsletter, we send bi-weekly culture roundups, let you know great stuff like what they have going on. Other great events here, like the Swifties World Tour, which didn't bring Taylor Swift here, but brought all the Taylor Swift fans together, and other tons of great shows. I've seen many My dear friend Jairus Evans, Quick the Poet, has done his Anna Floetries and spoken word showcases here at Broward Center. The Black Violin, who started at Dillard, they're on top of the Billboard charts. They perform here. Tons of great stuff at the Broward Center. So certainly encourage you, if you haven't been here before, if you haven't been here in a while, come check out Season 15. Check out Spirit in the club level. And I guess last one, just to give them a little love. So Spirit is sponsoring, helping out, or
what they do is they sponsor our airline tickets to bring in our performers. So that is a wonderful little economical little cushion that it gives us there to bring in music directors or whatever our need is for that show. It can bring in actors, music directors, stage managers,
scenic painters.
Yeah, whatever we can.
Every little bit helps.
Help with. But, so kudos to Spirit for getting our talent here.
Visit Lauderdale and American National Bank. They're also sponsors of ours, amongst so many others.
We're going to forget
something. That's
Fab, everybody.
But that is a good point, and let's just use this as a call for businesses and other people in the community that have the ability and the propensity to support the arts. That little bit of Spirit, which adds up to thousands of dollars, bridges the gap so that person in pursuit of their creative outlet, their profession, their passion, doesn't have to foot the bill for that flight. That really makes a difference in somebody's life.
It makes a difference. Absolutely.
So if you have a business that has the propensity to support the arts,
slowburntheater.org.
Yes. We're your guys.
Tons of great stuff. We really appreciate you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much. And thank you for what you do.
My pleasure. And we'll hope to see you here opening night and all the way through June 22nd, 2025.
That's right.
How about that? Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.